think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good. That I do.
Everyone, thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. People that are off from work, and I hope that's everybody, because we know by now there can be but one president that we recognize, I recognize, that is Barack Hussein Obama, and forever First Lady, Michelle LaVaughn Obama, Robinson Obama, okay? I hope everybody's off today. If you are not, thank you for being where you are, listening with one ear, working with the other, but I hope that's not the case. So I'm off today. Welcome into my moderators. I love it when y'all can make it to a live. I appreciate all of you so much. It is a very intense, high-powered, unpaid position, and I love those of you that give that to me. I really do. CC, good morning at Sandra P's Gen Extra in chat. Please like, share the live, and subscribe. Good morning, Mama Bees, another one of the high-level moderators. And I don't have anybody rated, okay? They're just those of you that are able to join me during the live. I love it. Team replay when you leave a comment. I love that. So thank you so much. Mama Bees, Grand Rising, Sandra P, chat, mods, and Mama Bees is speaking to CC. Sharon Gabo, good morning, Sandra P, Gen Extra, and chat. She's giving us a hug and blowing a kiss. Good morning, Sharon Gabo. Good morning, speaking to everyone else. Good morning, everyone that is here. Good morning, good morning. And this is a very busy morning. As you know, Bravo finally got back to business for us. We went over the Bonito Bowl, or the Super Bowl, for those of you that watched that. And last night we finally got the 2 episodes that one of them was anxiously awaited for me, Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 10, reunion part 1. You see the ladies behind me. I'll let you have a look at them, and then I'll jump back on. Andy Cohen with his meddling, messy self. That's him smack dab in the middle, getting ready to cause some drama for our queens. But we will start from Tia. Tia looked lovely as far as makeup, hair, everything. I don't like the flesh-colored middle in her dress, because I feel like it on a woman, that just emphasizes whatever area is flesh-colored. So Tia's got her belly with flesh-colored over it. Other than that, I do like the dress. I love the red theme. Giselle, we've seen this dress from Giselle every year, but in different colors. So Giselle doesn't have to do much, as Wendy told her one season, or that's Dr. Wendy to you, sweeties. Polite contrarians are welcomed here, y'all, but I can't get it down right now. As we know, production is off again today. So I can't get that down. That's Dr. Wendy's looking lovely. Many people called her best dressed. Many people, I'll agree. Everything about the dress is lovely. Her hair, her makeup, her everything. Wendy's skin is always shining, as my father used to say, like new money. Andy Cohen in the middle. The lovely Stacy, which was in, I feel like they said it was Parade magazine. I hope I wrote it down. No, Esquire. Somebody called her best performance, one of the top 100 performances of 2025, which the ladies got a cackle out of, but is an honor. And Giselle actually congratulated her with the straightest face I have seen on Giselle. There is Ash Top, otherwise known as Ashley Bobblehead Darby, showing that leg. Let's hope this is the last year we have to see that little leg, that smirk, the forehead. She's shining though. Ashley got her skin shining today, so that's good, Ashley. Ashley got to use water and take a bath, so she's glad. Kierna, our lovely Kierna, leaning more toward burgundy, which Stacy's dress is also, but that's one of my favorite colors of red, y'all. That was my mother's favorite color, that deep wine burgundy, but for Kierna, we'll call it red. And here is Angel, my angel. She's looking lovely. She's giving Jessica Rabbit. When she was seated in that dress, y'all, though, it did something funny with Angel's top. But she looks gorgeous. I love the red fur throw, hair, makeup, everything. Angel shining too, y'all. She tried to come ready, but we'll get into it. I don't know who her stylist is, but they might needed to hit that dress a little bit with a steam iron. I'm not sure. Or if she had already been sitting again, or was sitting in the dress while she got makeup done. I don't know. But everybody looked beautiful. I love that they have color theme. That is one thing I do love about the cast. They have the color theme, so that's really good. Let's see who's still showing. Okay, the important people are showing. Let me see. All right, that's better. That's better, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome. I hope everyone got a chance to watch the reunion because it was a very respectable part one. It was really good. So we start out with they give Dr. Wendy a package. Y'all, I like to see myself a little bit better. So I'll drop down as I need to. As people come in and I want to show them the ladies or they need to look at the ladies, I will go ahead and drop down a little bit. There's another layout I can do, but I just have to find it. It's where I can show the picture. Let me see, because sometimes I feel better doing that. If I do that, that's a lot better. Okay, so we'll start out. They had a package with Dr. Wendy, which Dr. Wendy actually knew that, you know, all that was going to happen. She knew that. So, I mean, she can't really be upset or complain or any of that. And Dr. Wendy's package opens with her 40th birthday party that they had in it's a neighbor to me, Lake Norman. Lake Norman, well, she's in that bedazzled captain's hat, the white one. And Karen was giving her a beautiful compliment. And Dr. Wendy was just a shine. And y'all know how she just eats up when she fits in with the girls, whether it's Mean Girls or not. But Karen was saying she's proud of her. And Wendy was just full. And the camera turned to Giselle. I don't know if it stuck out for anybody, but the look on Giselle's face was more than, I don't care for this woman. I wrote down, it said, Giselle looked at Wendy with so much hatred, that doesn't go away. So I don't care that Giselle and Wendy are telling us, you know, they've gotten to a place where Wendy even said in Nevis, I almost call her my friend. Watch yourself, Dr. Wendy. Watch yourself if you call this person your friend. Freeze frame with Giselle looking at Wendy while Karen was complimenting her. Just freeze her and tell me what y'all think about it. Excuse me. Yeah, it wasn't good. So I'm not buying that friendship. I heard that production had them sit down and say, listen, if we're still going to do the show, the fans don't like it. And we don't. We like the fun shade. We don't like this mean stuff. We don't like where you feel almost where somebody is at risk, mental risk, physical risk, when they're away and alone with the ladies. A lot of us can't take that. That's very triggering to watch. So for a girls show and a friendship show and a show that is sisterhood and above, as Giselle would put it, we can't have that. But I'm still not buying this friendship. I'm sorry. So they started with that package. And I feel like another thing, Giselle claims that she doesn't care what the fans think. I don't watch. I don't care. I don't read the comments. I don't this. I don't that. And she takes pleasure in that. I believe she does. And I think she didn't like crossing the line to mean girl, big sister neck, and all this kind of stuff. Giselle don't really want to hear that. She does want people to feel like she is a positive in the group. Say what you will about Karen, and people have said a lot of things about Karen. Giselle relishes that grand dame role. The fact that Angel wanted to see her as a big sis when she came in. I think there's a part of Giselle that would like that, but just the meanness in her. Good morning, Kiwan J. Welcome into my fellow content creator. Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. I appreciate you when you come in during the live. And if you're not already at Kiwan J TV, please go support her. Reality shows in addition to scripted television. So that is one of my content creator colleagues. Good morning, Grand Rising. Hello, everyone. So Sharon Gabo is saying, Giselle is just an evil witch, period. I've come to that conclusion. Sometimes I can laugh with her. Over the years, I have had a little bit of, not love and hate, but just love and disinterest. And okay, now she's getting on my nerves. And now I've just crossed the line where I do think she's just mean. She's just a witch. She's just dissatisfied about something in herself or her life, but there's no excuse for it. None. And I don't like to see it. And it was on full display, her and Ashley, this episode. And I didn't care about that. I think the colorism accusation also has gotten to her. So she's doing whatever she can to make up with Wendy, at least on screen. But Wendy, you better watch yourself if you really consider Giselle a friend. If you consider Giselle Bryant a friend, just watch yourself. I'm concerned for Wendy, actually. So then the Bravo cameras put up the date of October 16th. I think it was 2024. That was the date of the arrest, everybody. They show that ghoulish mugshot, which I have shown once, and I don't no longer have the picture. I don't like looking at it. We get the whole thing behind that. But we go to their home. They pan over all this beautiful renovation that Wendy did. The home is still beautiful, but knowing what we know, and now the cameras have shown us, and we can be out loud about it. It is sad. Y'all, why they show that little dog in the cage? The dog was in the cage, y'all. So they're panning over everything. Wendy is talking like Dr. Heavenly, but with no energy. So, Dr. Wendy, is this your innocent voice? She is just telling Eddie, I have no appetite. I don't know what to do. Can't eat, can't sleep. Dr. Wendy is laying it on thick, y'all. The life has been sucked out of her. I do believe it, but I also think some of it was more, y'all look at me. Could I do this? Me, sweet Wendy, do this? I don't know. That's what the insurance company said. I heard there were 3 of them involved. And honestly, I was always more afraid of the insurance company's investigation than even the police, because those people are ruthless. But she's in a county where they do want to make an example of her. So I understand why she is upset, depressed, can't sleep. Eddie and Wendy discuss the day of the arrest. They say it felt surreal. Happy Eddie, y'all, he is not happy. We can see his teeth because he has one of those where he does smile on instinct, but he's serious. He is straight-faced. He is sober. He and Wendy we're a fly on the wall to this conversation. Welcome in. This is my friend Soundcheck Annette came in. I see someone speaking, but I missed the comment. Soundcheck Annette, welcome in. Welcome in. If you did come in and I did not. Here we go. Grand Rising. Grand Rising, everyone listening while working out. Okay, Soundcheck Annette. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. So Sharon spoke to Soundcheck Annette. Thank you. And let's see, before we continue, I'll read this. One of my sister-in-laws knows Giselle from college days, sorority stuff. Giselle pledged AKA at Hampton, and my sister-in-law at a rival HBCU across the Chesapeake Bay. She isn't impressed. I hear a lot about that, CC, also from people that went to her church when she was first lady. So evidently what we see and what some of us believe we see is not an act. She can be a mean lady. She can be a hazer, and this will come up. I believe it. Everyone's speaking to Soundcheck Annette. This is sad to hear, though, for someone that is Giselle and I are the same age. A 55-year-old Giselle, there's no excuse. Any age to be a mean girl. You shouldn't do that. And then certainly mean middle-aged lady, and then cross over to mean old lady. At what point do you put that down? So they're talking about the arrest. We find out that Eddie, they need to blend in that lineup. Eddie is always gorgeous. I love his skin, his hair, everything. Wendy calls him her Idris Elba, so he's her Idris Elba. But that was distracting me, that chalk that some of the barbers leave on there. So Wendy has a beautiful necklace on. It has her children's name on it. Did y'all notice that? She was a lot more understated, but she had a big rock on. I hope that's not one of the ones in the insurance documents. I hate the fact that I can't stop doing that, but I blame you, Dr. Wendy. I blame you for that. But she's not wearing all that other jewelry. So she's wearing some beautiful silking lounge pajamas, and she's just in her home relaxing. If you can do that after what they've been through. This is terrible, y'all. So Eddie talks about when he walked by and he saw Wendy in her holding cell. He said, you were talking to your sister and I could hear Cam in the background. And that's when both their voices crack, y'all. You know, Cam is our girl. I'm going to have to find that picture of Cam. We love Cam. We do. Wendy tells us later that Cam was 2 months old when she came on this show. And that's why that's our internet baby, one of our Real Housewives of Potomac babies. As I love all the Bravo celebrity children, some more than others, but particularly our shows, especially the ones we've watched grow up. And just to think of her going through that, going home with Mama Susan and the sister. Come on now. This was terrible. So this was unplanned. I don't think they thought they would be taken in. They even said that they to wake up in handcuffs, or, wake up in handcuffs, but to go to jail. That was unexpected. The only beautiful things about Giselle are her daughters. Yes, Sharon Gobble, I always give it much respect to Giselle over those daughters. Even when I watch the young ladies their father, Jamal Bryant, with that podcast he had. He brought them on, and they were just shading him. They were just saying all kind of stuff to him, which I loved. I didn't have a problem with at all, because somebody's got to humble those two. Dr. Jamal Bryant and Giselle, those are two egos that are just too much. So I love the fact that that we got that. We get that by watching them. Okay, so Cameron's so innocent. Wendy's saying she doesn't know what's going on. She said, and that is the hard part of it, because the sons kind of do. And y'all, this is really serious. If I didn't know before, through a lot of you in the comments, because I was thinking, I don't know, this just can't be real, but it is. It's real, and it's terrifying, actually. Wendy asked him a strange question. She said, do you think this is going to have an impact in our marriage? Because I'm not the same. And they look at each other really intimately and seriously. What are you telling us, Wendy and Eddie? Are y'all blaming each other? Is one more responsible than the other? I don't know. I had a hard time reading into that. Y'all, I was a little scared to hear that from her. She asked Eddie, does he think this is going to have an impact on the marriage? He doesn't know. Cece said, I was floored that the local PD had a whole press conference about Otheftos like they were violent criminals. Cece, that's when I got nervous, and Mama Bees brought it up. She said they're in Orange County. I didn't know that. So people that are adding in a little more insight, it's scary. I watched We Go, Taria, our girl over there at What Else Is Going On podcast. She puts her little boots on the ground and she goes over there and said she's confirmed that is that type of county. The sheriff is that type of sheriff. And this is serious. This is it's a moment of gravity for the Otheftos, okay? Cece's words, not mine. So Eddie says it's going to impact us. I know after this incident, I'm not the same person. So Wendy's saying she hopes that'll be okay with him. They focus on Eddie's hand for some reason, and we see one single band. So production, we don't need you giving any more clues about who's more responsible or not. I know most of us probably thought it was Wendy. I go back and forth. I think it is Wendy, but Dr. Eddie being the happy Eddie and the smiley guy, everybody loves Eddie, from Eddie Cohen on down. But how do we know that maybe he wasn't the driving force trying to please Wendy? We don't know. So I don't know. I kind of don't like that part of it, where they're almost trying to steer the audience toward thinking a certain thing. I mean, I've read a lot of the insurance paperwork. Those insurance companies don't play. And somebody is a good writer. It's like a novel. You're reading it like this and that and then this. And then the fact that the stuff was on IG after it was reported stolen. I don't know. I'm going to read a few more comments. Kiwan JTV says, in my opinion, I don't think that their marriage will survive this. Oh, Sharon Gobbled. I'm sorry. I looked at Kiwan. I saw that, Jay. Sharon Gobbled, in my opinion, I don't think their marriage will survive this. Sharon, I hope and pray that their marriage is not a casualty of this. I don't know. I've mentioned it on former lives, y'all. I don't think he has that Apollo gene, the little bit of street where you go to jail for your woman, because nobody thinks that Apollo was the brains behind that operation. Phaedra has not done a day. There's a book out. A lady that served time and was in on it too, implicated Phaedra. She always was reaching out to Phaedra, trying to get Phaedra involved. She said she never heard from Phaedra again. I don't blame her. If Apollo and his brother were willing to do that time, and they've done it, and I think we saw kind of behind the scenes, but in front of our face, where he went to the house and he's with my stuff. You took everything from me. And Phaedra was just cool, calm, and collected. And she said, Bun, you better get him. I think that there's a lot of unspoken stuff that we will never know, but I don't believe that he was in it alone. So I don't know. I hope their marriage survives if it's supposed to. We see Eddie with the single band on his hand. And when he's over here, she got some rocks in her ears too. Now, Eddie does too, but I don't know. I don't know if she can be blamed 100%. Might be a Bonnie and Clyde type thing where they got 8 degrees between them, but no street smarts. Somebody needed a street degree if you're going to do that kind of stuff. So then we head back to New York for the reunion. Giselle is strutting down the hall like it is a runway. It's 5:30 a.m., or as Angel would say, in the morning. And they're at the reunion. We see Karen's dressing room door. They tease that. Her name is on there. Here come Ashtop, nosy, trying Karen's door. S-Top, get out of there. Why are you trying her door this time of morning? This is the most annoying lady, y'all. So she's going, is Kern here? It's too early. It's too early for Kern. So everybody's getting dressed. We see extreme close-ups of some of the lady. Kierna's not, her makeup's not even all done yet. They're right in her face. Still pretty, of course. Production got to be quicker than that. You can't catch a bad shot of Kierna. Maybe catch her first thing in the morning or something. I don't know. So Giselle and S10 are in their dressing room talking about who? Dr. Wendy. These two never have anything else going on. I never hear, how are you doing? What are the girls up to? The one that pledged this or that. Dean and Bean, how's the book coming along? No, they're talking about Wendy. I'd come in here like a nun. S-Top, I don't think you'd go anywhere like a nun. CDW, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. This is Reunion Part 1, Real Housewives of Potomac. We just got off the scene where they do a whole package where they pick the cameras back up, went into Wendy and Eddie's house. So a lot of us are concerned for their marriage with what Wendy said. We don't know what's going to happen. We're back at the reunion. We're in New York. S-Top and Giselle are talking about Wendy. At least wish the lady well. I'd come in there like a nun. This girl, when she gets her comeuppance, whatever it's going to be, it's not going to be pretty. Her karma's not pretty at all. I can't stand Ashley. Her time should be up on the show. Sharon, I feel the same. What more can she show us? What more? Dean and Bean are growing up. Tell us something about Dean and Bean, Ashley. Why are you always worried about someone else and their husband and their children? So she said, I know, I believe I'd tone it down. Would you? You didn't tone it down when Michael was under all that suspicion. So Giselle says, I'm just waiting on this State of the Union address. Wendy, listen to how your friend is talking about you. So I can't tell if it was Wendy or Stacy, but a figure dressed to a T in white. I'm inclined to believe it's Wendy, honey. Hair swinging, walks up. You know, Wendy was in her white phase. She was doing the angelic thing. I told y'all she showed up in BravoCon dressed all in white. And she also had that little voice on too, the innocent Dr. Wendy voice. So I believe it was Dr. Wendy. That person struts in. We get to see all the ladies arrive. Angel arrives. She's getting her makeup done. Stacy arrives. Everybody's getting their makeup done. Eddie's back there with Wendy. The theme, I thought it was a Colorado theme. Andy Cohen clears up later. It's equestrian theme because they did, thinking back, they did a lot of horse-related events. They did the Preakness thing, the Popeye's chicken party that Wendy and Giselle threw. That was a horse theme. So we are there. Everybody comes in. Stacy comes to the stage first. So Stacy gets out there first. Andy compliments her dress. He loves some Stacy. They hug. She said, this is a Nigerian designer. S-Top is already out there hating. The same designer I wore last year. But S-Top, you didn't tell us that the person was Nigerian last year. So we don't care. Shine on, Stacy, shine on. So Jessica Rabbit walks in, otherwise known as Angel, in her swanky dress. Angel, you look good. And Andy compliments her. She's all smiles. Tia comes in. Tia looks really good. But again, as I mentioned, that neutral part that's across the belly, Tia, I don't know about that. So who are we still waiting on? They said they're waiting on Wendy. Wendy is going to make her entrance, everybody. Wendy said, I don't care what y'all talking about. If you're talking about me, you're also going to talk about this outfit. So we hear production say, Wendy's on the way. Now, we didn't get that for anybody else. So they get a Wendy. Wendy's walking. So Wendy's the star of at least this first part of the reunion. Dr. Wendy walked in. And as you can see, y'all, she is stunning. Wendy is gorgeous. I mean, we saw the dress. A lot of people were calling her best dressed. I'll give her that. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Eddie is waiting in the wings. He kisses her in the hallway. And she walks in. Andy popped up. He jumped up like a jack in the box. You look beautiful. And he's hugging Wendy. He does like Wendy. I love your hair. And she's saying, thank you, thank you. She's smiling. Giselle hugs her. Her good friend Giselle gives her a strong hug. They're all smiling. Wendy says to Giselle first, you look good. I didn't hear Giselle reply. Giselle, did you reply? Because Giselle seemed like one of them. So compliment Wendy back. So they all are sitting there. We get to see their dresses seated once Wendy sits down. The other thing about Giselle, somebody had that bronzer on her because it was winter when they filmed, and it was a little too dark. It was very distracting. It was very, very dark on her. But they got the legs oiled up. Everybody looks good. Andy says it's been 10 years since we've come together to Potomac. We got two OGs. I would say Ashley is a veteran. If Karen were there, she'd be an OG, but she's not there for the first part. But he says Giselle and Ashley, so he gives Ash that. Since we've come to the quiet enclave of Potomac, and this is equestrian themed because you had a lot of horse themed events. He says, we're going to reflect on the horse you rode in on. The ladies kind of laugh because usually that's a rude statement, like, forget you and the horse you rode in on. But Andy kind of switches it up. He said, we got two newbies. So that's Tia and Angel. And then we got the ladies that are new because they're only on their second season, but they're not rookies. So that would be Stacy and Kierna. Andy asked Angel about her expectations. Were they met for the first season? She said, I came in expecting to make some new friends, have a lot of new experiences with a new group of ladies. It's been a rough landing, but I've had some fun in the process. Every time Angel speaks, y'all, they pan to either Giselle or Ashley, and they're making a smirk face or like they smell something that stinks, or y'all stop doing that. That's ridiculous. You don't have to like this lady, but come on. She's a member of the cast. She's on the same show as you. She's working the same job. The co-workers that we don't like, you don't get to do all that because at this point it's ridiculous. He asked Tia if her expectations were met. Tia says, well, I already knew Giselle and I moved to Potomac during COVID, so 2020. And yes, my expectations. So Tia is already butt kissing. Y'all, I was on the fence with Tia. Now I'm on the side of the fence where I don't care for Tia too much. I think Tia is a pick-me. I think she's all the way up Giselle's butt, or as Stacy gonna put it later, her master, and I don't care for Tia. I like her family. I don't care for her. Mama Bees, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the live to keep the channel in the algorithm. Thank you. Thank you, Mama Bees, and thank my new subscribers that have been here, A1 Day Ones, everybody. Thank you. So he turns to Wendy. He said he wants to know, how would you compare Wendy with what she is now? So Wendy's sitting there thinking about that. Before that, let's see, he talked about Stacy. Stacy says she has grown and glown. Okay. He asked Stacy about the glow up. Wendy says you have to take the good with the bad. Kiana says that she's a little more suited. Something she said. She's had an adjustment. Kiana, I don't know if you watched what we were watching, but you had a rocky first part of the season as well. And he kind of goes around with everybody. Then he turns to Dr. Wendy and he was serious about it. I never liked Tia. You didn't, Sharon. You jumped on Tia early on. I was trying to give her a chance. It took me an entire season. I don't care for her either. I never put my cloak of immunity over her. I didn't feel she needed it. I saved it for Angel, but I can say now, I don't care for how Tia presents herself on this show. I don't. So Andy turns to Wendy and says, you and your husband, Eddie, are facing however many felony charges. What can you tell us about what's happening? Dr. Wendy had on her innocent voice. She says, I can say the investigation is ongoing. I can say we've had court appearances. I can say it's been a trying time for our family. And Andy says, how are the children doing? Everybody settles in and really looks serious because, again, this is all of our main concern. Sharon is saying what it is. I like Stacy, but she lies too much. Yeah, some of it can be funny, but too many unnecessary lies, you start to look a little crazy. So Wendy says, the children it's hard because we got one that doesn't understand anything. That's our baby Cam. She says, and then we got Cash and Carter, they understand. And I think it was Carter or Cash. They both have phones, but one of them ended up pulling up. He's seen the mugshot. He didn't let his grandmother or aunt know he had seen it. He went to bed with that, clearly upset. So they knew something different had happened because we know Wendy has her children on a schedule just to make things run smoothly. If you watched Wife Swap, Dr. Wendy is very regulated in how she manages her household, other than the finances, but that's another story. So the Cameron, Cash, or Carter knew something was up. And when they get there, he said, okay, where were you? And when he said, I promised I would never lie to you guys. And so she had to tell them that they went to jail. They spent the night in jail. And that her and her son, they cried, held each other and cried in the back seat of the car. So I hate to hear that. They pan the camera to Ash Top. She's trying to look serious. I think she's still a little smirky about it, y'all. I don't know. I hate to think someone has all negative intentions, but I haven't seen any good in Ashley, at least this season. So Carter, I wrote down Carter. Carter's the one that knew something was up, and he has that phone. So I don't know. Why didn't he feel comfortable enough to tell his Mama Susan and his aunt? But he didn't. So Wendy did tell him the truth. Everybody's just shaking their heads and just trying to find out, what is Wendy okay? And Wendy says that they never want him to be blindsided like that again. They pan the Angel. Angel's looking very concerned. Yeah, all of the mothers up there. Is that everybody? Except Kierna. Even Kierna. Everybody was really concerned. So it's a trip. So Giselle, because it's too serious and too down or whatever, and she thinks she's production, and she's ignorant. She says, so was the nap the reason for the wig being a little bit twisted? But it did get a laugh out of Dr. Wendy. She laughed. We also find out that she said, no, that's my professor wig. Wendy laughs a little bit. We find out that she said, I was actually taking a nap. And Andy or Ashley want to know why she was smiling in the mugshot. She was extremely scared and upset when she got there, to the point where intake started trying to kind of poke her out of it. I guess if you're human, you would treat people with humanity. And he's like, okay, give me a shot. Give me another shot. And then we get that nervous, ghoulish looking, or that picture she took, y'all. That picture was a sight. It made her look kind of crazy. I think I'd plead crazy. I throw myself on the mercy of the court and just, I don't know, reality TV just drove me crazy. So I don't know. But that mugshot is exhibit A. But we find out that somebody kind of teased her and tried to make her a little more comfortable with intake, and that's why she's smiling. So she starts laughing about it. And she said she was so upset with the situation. That's why we get the smile. And then Stacy murmurs, were you at least able to pick which shot? Stacy, no, because I don't think she would have picked that one. And then someone asked her, did you regret smiling in the mugshot? She said, no, I don't regret smiling, because during the darkest times, that's when you come through and you smile your way through it. Now, Dr. Wendy, some of this is acting, okay? Some of this is acting. Then Giselle has to get back into it again. She wants to know whether or not she had popped a Happy Eddie. And Wendy says, no, I didn't. I didn't pop a Happy Eddie. But a lot of, people think that Eddie looked high as a kite. He did look. She said, but he had been waked up from a nap. So it wasn't about that. Because I thought since they got him from home, I thought Eddie was high or something too. I don't know. So he was sleeping in his cell. Now, how can you sleep like that in a cell? But, I mean, maybe he was relieved to be caught. I don't know, y'all. This has been a mystery to me since we found out. It really has. Wendy was very performative. Mama Bees, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, some of it I would empathize with her a little bit, and then she would be, yes, and this and that. Is that my camera? Sometimes her angles were always perfect. It was just, come on, Wendy. I don't know. I hope she's not doing that in court. Again, play that crazy card, Wendy. So she says, well, what I didn't know about jail, they control the lights. So you sleep when they tell you to sleep because they turn the lights out, and you're up when the lights go on, and there were people there. You completely lose your autonomy. And Giselle and them were saying, oh, somebody slept there. There were people sleeping there with you. They want to know about the toilet. Andy brings up Karen's trick, which we're hearing it's an old jailhouse trick. He said, well, you could put tampons on the toilet. They said, Andy, pads. And then he's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. He says, that's okay. We know you didn't know. So a lot of the stuff they were asking about, if I were Wendy, I would have just said, it was too traumatizing. I don't really want to continue talking about it. Because I didn't like this, y'all. Potomac, the ladies of Potomac above everybody else. And now here y'all are talking about jail. And it's not the first person, it's number 2. So y'all, I didn't like that. I didn't like it. Shayna McD, welcome in. This is another one of my fellow content creators. Shayna is amazing, y'all. She had a really good interview with Lauren. So please get over there and watch that and support that. Lauren is one of the Ready to Love cast. Found out a lot of things I did not know. I didn't watch the show. I actually just watched reviews. So watch that with Shayna McD and also Kiwan JTV. So y'all, please go over there to Shayna McD. And that was a good interview. I know some of you watched Ready to Love, some did not. I'm one of the ones I did not, but I caught up through Shayna and Kiwan J. Please like the video, everyone. And thank you again. I appreciate it. Mama B's, Grand Rising Shayna. And Cece is also welcoming Shayna in. Thank you so much. So I think if I were Wendy, I would have cut this conversation short because Andy, a lot of franchises, some of these women have gone to jail, and let Wendy get your money, get your separate jail special, like Teresa and all these other people. Don't let him do that to you. You're already being paid for this, but this is free money. Don't talk about the jail experience. Let's not talk about the jail. That's separate. And Eddie's not here. Don't tell his story. I mean, he's there, but he's not on stage. So I didn't like that. So Ashley is not getting enough attention. And Bobblehead Darby, y'all, she has to pipe up. Oh, you know what's terrifying for me is that going to jail. So you and Sheila must have been involved in criminal activities at point in time under the bridge, Ashley, allegedly, and in my opinion. Because why are you scared of going to jail? I've been scared of going to jail. And now I'm in a group where two of the ladies have gone to jail. Y'all, they pan the cameras to the other ladies. Angel's looking disgusted. Kieran's looking annoyed. Stacy is shocked. She's like, and Wendy, they settle on her. Wendy is really upset that Ashley has taken a spotlight off of her during her harrowing jail stories, one night in jail in Potomac. And she was annoyed. Andy, you should have shut that down. Ash Top, mind your business, okay? And Giselle is just sitting over there with her lips poked out. Y'all, this was a trip. So Ashley picked it up, took it about her, and then Andy says, okay, we'll return to this later. Dr. Wendy, don't return to this later. Do what we're telling you to do. Go ahead and get you one of these jail specials like they gave Teresa. Thank you very much. Anytime, anytime. So we preview Tia hooting and hollering at Stacy, and then Stacy's telling her that she didn't come to meet Timo. She came to clock in and bring information to her master. So Stacy got a few digs off on Tia, which I love. Because y'all, Tia, did somebody tell Tia she was boring? Tia's trying to be seen. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shayna McD gave me a super sticker of $4.99. So I appreciate that, Shayna McD. Thank you. So Andy, when he comes back, he's talking to Stacy. Stacy, the ladies has some suspicions with you. He brings up TJ, brings up the cannabis line, the name of the cannabis line. So he's talking about the fact that it's Shayo. Stacy's involved in all this drama. But before we get to that, can I talk about I'm obsessed with your QVC videos? Stacy appears to be shocked. Are you? Stacy, he told you that when you were on Watch What Happens Live. Everywhere you go, they tell you they're obsessed with these videos, okay? So we get to see some of those videos. Stacy looking like Stacy, but a little bit younger, speaking exactly the same way. And then she does the earring thing. Can we talk about length? Can we talk about drama? Can we talk about rocks? So Stacy is really hilarious. She's really funny. It's the jailbirds of Potomac. Shayna McD, it's a long way from above to people being able to joke. It's the jailbirds of Potomac with laughing emojis. And it be true. Two of them. So Giselle, I know you walk the straight and narrow. You better keep walking it because they don't mind scooping y'all up, okay? Shayna McD, thank you for supporting the channel. Yes, thank you very much. I always appreciate that, y'all. I get a kick out of the super stickers, any of that. I appreciate it. So we get Stacy talking about QVC and her performance with QVC. It's Vanity Fair, y'all. I wrote it down. And he says, last year, Vanity Fair named you one of the best performances of 2025. And everybody is clapping. And Giselle cuts that mess off. She stops clapping immediately. Stacy says, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And Giselle says, well, Potomac was in the news for a lot of things that were not so positive. So this was a positive. So congratulations. And she says, a couple of people went to jail. I don't mean any offense, Wendy. And Wendy was like, mind your business. Again, what Mama B said, Wendy being performative. You couldn't joke with me about this, especially telling a story where Cam is clueless and your other looking down in your arm because he knows. And you're over here laughing. Wendy, you need to, I hope she gets evaluated. Excuse me, something's going on with Wendy that's not right. So Stacy says, I'm so glad that the QVC clips came out because you get to see I'm the same person, my genuine joy, my personality, my happiness to be alive. The ladies interrupt her and say, well, that was your job. I think it was Ash Top. That was your job. You were working for QVC. That was your job. Yeah, Ash Top, and you're working for Bravo. This is your job. I don't know what they want Stacy to do other than these little lies. I don't know what it is that they're so upset about. Tia, for some reason, has entered the chat. She's jumped up and her flesh colored across the belly dress and start yelling at Stacy about something, y'all. I think it had to do with when she met. Oh no, this part she says, we were returning from a cash trip and I could hear a voice in the back. I didn't know it was Stacy. She was using colloquialisms and she just sounds totally different. Tia, please get off this. I don't know what this is about. So Stacy is saying, well, you speak differently. You speak differently at times. You would know. You use your accent. Stacy's giving it back to her, y'all. The two of them are getting into it. Tia's like, well, you married up. Tia, I don't like that. Any spare white man is not you marrying up. This man has a high-level job with one of the car companies. I'm hearing Audi. So I don't know if you consider that marrying up, maybe because he's an executive, a top executive, but I don't know. I think Tia means because he's white. And I don't care, Tia. I don't like the fact that you think that. She says, and I speak with an accent. It triggers Stacy. Stacy don't care nothing about your accent. So this whole thing was silly. Giselle, because she's working, of course, always pipes in, well, I have an accent. And they kind of laugh a little bit, but it was a little silly. But I didn't mind her ending the segment, y'all. That was kind of silly. Oh, another thing Tia said, you're always bragging about you've been to all these different companies, all these different countries. And Stacy says, it's not bragging. I think it's a privilege to travel. And Tia says, you think it's a flex. Stacy says it is a flex and a privilege to be able to travel the world. I have to agree with Stacy on this. That is a privilege. You have people that have not been able to go 10 miles from where they were even born, especially Americans. A lot of people don't get a passport until they're older and they get them themselves. So I don't know what T is talking about. You said you think it's an accomplishment. Stacy says it is an accomplishment. The ladies are not weighing in until Giselle makes her little joke about the accent. So then Andy wants to use Stacy's segment to talk about Thirsty TJ again. And Stacy's saying, well, TMO met, he wanted to know that TMO know TJ from when Stacy was at QVC. We remember that is where TJ allegedly got this job to come on TV and pretend to be her boyfriend. Whatever the two of them were doing, we know it was something untoward. We know it was silly. I know it was unbelievable. I didn't buy this man as her boyfriend from day one, especially when he gave her bug juice and a frozen pizza for a romantic dinner. I knew they were playing in our face. So this is ridiculous. So Giselle they're quizzing her again about this marriage or divorce announcement. Stacy's saying that is what they really sent to us. That's the notification. We have found out since, and TMZ broke the story, it is a real divorce. Of course, he has moved back in. They're not just co-parenting, they're living together as a family again, but they haven't gone through getting married and everything again. Andy brings up the couples dinner. Again, Wendy's looking out of the corner of her eye, real sly. Wendy, this is not your package, and you got bigger fish to fry. Wendy was really interesting with her persona. I think is what Mama B said. She was being performative. And then sometime when the spotlight wasn't on her, she was almost happy and would kind of go back to the old Wendy and try to make little digs and stuff. But I wanted to say, okay, Wendy, you not too much on them. So I don't know. She was between a rock and a hard place and sitting in first chair. So Stacy's fighting for her life from her first chair. That's another reason why Giselle and Ash Top were salty. They felt like as the OGs, I think they thought first chair, but baby, y'all didn't bring anything. So this whole package, they go back and forth with Stacy, TMO. T is yelling again about that she used her, and then you lied on me. The second you got caught, you lied on me. I don't know what T is talking about. Stacy starts to explain again. TMO was not in town. And then they play the package, y'all, where TMO, Stacy says, well, he's just now getting back into town. So yeah, they did bust Stacy in a couple of lies. Stacy says, well, I admit it looks like mumbo jumbo, but once I confided to you that he didn't want to meet certain ones, why did you go back and tell the very person that? Now we know TMO was upset with Wendy and Eddie. I think he felt they took a little too much pleasure in the whole bring Eddie out and TJ being able to talk on speakerphone on Eddie's phone. But I don't really blame Eddie for that. He kind of fell into it. He's like, where are you, man? And then TJ's telling all this stuff, knowing that he's on the reunion, that it's a speakerphone. So I don't know. If it looks a little bit like that is part of the reason TMO was uncomfortable meeting Wendy and Eddie. So Tia says that was the straw that broke the camera's back. She says Stacy lied on her. Thankfully, thank God, thank you. We get through that package and we see a preview of Ash Top saying, I don't vilify my accomplishments, a statement which makes no sense. If you have accomplishments, you don't want to vilify them. You want to elevate your accomplishments, Ash Top. So start studying under that bridge instead of harassing other people, and then you won't sound stupid. But she does get to eat Wendy up, y'all. She does. So next we come back and y'all, one of our Olympians had a commercial. Happy Black History Month, y'all. It was Aaron Jackson, the speed skater. So I did love the fact it was one of those like a drug company, a pharmaceutical commercial about skin. So she's gonna make some money. So I'm proud of her. We come back in. Stacy says, you didn't come to meet my husband. You didn't come to support me and Arabella. You came to clock in and to bring information back to your master. And that activates Giselle. Master? She says, well, if she was bringing information back to her master, then you were bringing information back to your master. Wendy, you see how quick your friend turns on you? Wendy said, I'm nobody's master. And you certainly not Stacy's master. I don't see that. So Tia brings up, well, another final straw. One final straw, please, Tia. Tia, you looking crazy. This is more than we've heard from Tia all season, y'all. Tia brings up Monique. When Stacy repeated to Chris, and that infected and impacted her family. So we see the scene again where y'all had a whole lunch to talk about Stacy, Kierna, Giselle, Tia, and Ash Top. And again, throughout the season, I don't believe for a second that Stacy was the one that told Chris Samuels. At the very last scene or the very last episode when they were in Colorado, Ash Top finally brings up to Monique, you know, I talked to Chris and I asked him if he was going with so-and-so. So it did come up. And Ash Top, I think you or Cookie gave this information. So now we find out that Ash Top has been lying on Stacy. Stacy does lie, but I think in this situation, they frame a person who could potentially be guilty, but here she was not. So they're going back and forth about this again. So I'm still unsure that it was Stacy. I think they just accused her. We go back to, how do you know Chris? I know him socially. Production shows us the clip of that. Tia lied and said, she said, I do not know that man. If she said it, they didn't show it on TV. She says, I know him socially. Didn't they show us the clip in Nevis where she's talking to, I believe, Kierna and Jazzy, or maybe Tia was there too, I'm not sure. About, we each saw other people during our divorce, that Chris was one of them. Now, really, the thing that everybody wants to know is that Chris Samuels and Stacy get down. I think we can all agree, no, they did not. Chris was the one, to me, thirsty over Stacy, who is his type, okay? Not Cookie, Stacy. So I don't believe that at all. Then finally, we get to the viewer questions. The viewer wants to know, it says, Ashley was ruder to Stacy than Tia was, and why'd you kick Tia out? Something along the lines of that. So Stacy had more smoke for Tia, and Tia agreed. We see Stacy throw her out with the toodle-doo. Wendy is laughing. The other ladies are just looking. Andy wants to know if Stacy feels sorry about that. Stacy says no, she don't feel sorry about that. And then Andy now wants to know why she didn't come clean, as they want to put it, about this cannabis line. And Stacy was saying, I had many meetings. I had many ventures. A lot of people were approaching me for businesses. And Giselle saying, all you had to do is, and Angel said, I don't see why she was even worried about it. They clicked the camera off of Angel so fast, y'all. Andy Cohen doesn't like Angel, or production doesn't. And if Bobby was standing over these men hollering, I could see why they're a little bit scared. I don't like them shortchanging my girl Angel, because I'm with her. Why does Giselle need to know that? And Stacy said she wasn't at a place where she could tell people that she had the business. And Giselle was like, you could have told us. That's all you had to say. Wrong. She didn't have to say anything. I wouldn't have lied. I would have just said, I'm not really discussing all the businesses that are actually being brought to me at this time. That's what I would have said. That's what. Good morning, American Born. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. We are part one of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. So right now they are getting on our girl Stacy again, being caught in a bunch of lies. Right now they're talking about her cannabis line, the name of the cannabis line. Andy wants to know, are you getting back at Wendy for naming it a Nigerian word? And Wendy says Stacy knows what she was doing. Again, I agree with that. So Tia pipes in, the Nigerians want their name back. That gets a little laugh. Okay, Tia, we see you trying to be seen. So Wendy she gives up the idea that she feels like Stacy is trying to get back for Eddie and Wendy over TJ. And Giselle wants to know, well, we met him out in LA with his best friend and TJ told us all this information. We supposed to just sit on it? No, Giselle, you're supposed to talk about yourself, your daughters, any and everything to do with your life. Ash Top, you as well. And stop talking about this woman, because the stuff they're bringing up, we don't really care about. I don't. All it's done is propel her even more to the top and to fan favorite. Yes, I had to catch up so I can join in. Thank you so much for catching up to join in. And thank you for coming in during the Live American Born. I appreciate it. All in all, I mean, there's a lot going on because, of course, we start out with Dr. Wendy, and now they've gotten on to Stacy. Again, polite contrarians are welcome, but I can't remove that right now, and I'm not sure why. But it's not in the way of anything. So Stacy says, you didn't treat me fairly as two women whose men have humiliated you. Y'all, the camera pans to Wendy. Wendy had a grin on her face. Y'all, this was the old Dr. Wendy. This was so funny. She says, you didn't treat me fairly as two women whose men have humiliated you. Over the years, Giselle and Ash Top are shocked that Stacy would say this. Give it to him, Stacy. That's the way you do it. Angel, look at Stacy. That's how you back him up off you. Exactly. So Ashley and Giselle are going crazy. Wendy's doing that whoop, 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 which kind of gets on my nerves, but it made me laugh here. It's kind of like verbal exclamation points, like, y'all listen to this. We get it. We know when somebody's reading. So she was telling them their men embarrass them, and yet they're going to try to pull her out and have a man embarrass her. The whole TJ thing was just silly. I think there was some type of agreement. Evidently, he never got his money. And if it were half her paycheck, that's a bad deal on both sides. I don't think that he ever really thought he would get paid. And Stacy, you better not pay that man anything, because he was never believable as her boyfriend. So we'd like to leave that in last season. So Giselle's yelling, you didn't think you should say anything? And Stacy saying, you didn't have to do that the way you did. So they go on and on about that a little more. And then Andy cuts it off. Do you think you had learned? What have you learned from this? Do you need to? How are you going to move forward with the ladies in the future? Stacy's saying, to look ahead, I just need to be a little more direct and not beat around the bush, which would cause things to be misunderstood. She's doing her Stacy thing. And Ash Top pipes up, or you could just be honest. Ash Top, she could just be honest. Okay. When Michael was over there saying he treat Juan Dixon like a lollipop, and Ash Top was pretending she didn't hear it, feeling on cameraman, pretending she didn't see anything, or that they were just joking, conspiring with Monique Samuels to hide video footage. Were you being honest, Ash Top? And if Stacy had time, I wish she would have said all of that to her. This is why we don't like Ashley. So Andy puts a pin in that. And they gave Stacy a really long segment. I just don't like that a lot of it focused on negatives, but I think she did a pretty good job defending herself. So she did pretty good. So next we see a preview of Wendy saying, what if I call you James Earl Jones? Giselle cackling. She loves it. And of course, that is aimed at our girl, Angel. Angel, you got to come up with something. You got that Forrest Whitaker eye off, but you, James Earl Jones. I love James Earl Jones, y'all. Giselle's laughing. That was the preview. So Stacy's joking to Ashley. Stacy, you really know how to make yourself pleasant for coworkers. This is like behind the scenes before the show comes back on. They're not filming. Wouldn't the liquid IV taste so good? Here's Ash Top being common and gutter. I don't really like those. I got a vitamin D shot in my butt. Ash Top, we don't care. We don't care. Did you get a good shower? Did you scrub them legs? We don't care anything about a vitamin D shot in her butt. So the two of them are joking about that. With the needle, of course. This girl, there's something wrong with her. American Born said, I thought I heard during the segment talking about him. Maybe I misheard. Oh, let me see what Cece said. Did we know TJ worked at QVC? Yes, I brought that up, American Born. Might have been right before you came in. Andy ended up asking, did Timo know TJ from QVC? And she said, yeah, of course. He met TJ at QVC as well. Oh, thank you for bringing that up, American Born, because Andy had the nerve to say, was TJ the reason why you and Timo broke up? Stacy said, no. So it was not. I don't even think they were really dating. TJ was saying he's a Christian. That's why they didn't sleep together. A lot of people think they're not on the same team. A lot of people, I believe that. So the whole thing was ridiculous. And he asked who filed. Stacy filed. So Timo seems emotionally unavailable to me. Sometimes when Arabella's there, they're a little more of a family, but distant men like that, I don't care for, but maybe Stacy's okay with it. Sharon, I don't believe it. Sandra, you can't save Angel. Y'all know Sharon feels like Angel should be one and done, and I don't believe in one season wonders. So me and my first season cloak of immunity are trying to save her. She can't really get a word in, but you know what? Cece's laughing. Andy seems to be very distant from Angel, and he doesn't seem to like her too much. Now, with what we're hearing behind the scenes, I feel like it could be because Bobby's not letting him run over her. And then, of course, the Colorado thing, y'all. Okay, sorry, I missed that part, Sandra. No, not at all. Thank you, because it triggered with Andy asked her that question. Why would TJ be responsible for help breaking up their marriage? Stacy didn't really go with that man. He's a German man. Maybe it's why he is like that. American born, that is a good point. It seems distant to me, but when you bring that up, I do hear that they're really regimented and just a certain stoic. That's what I'm looking for. So that could be it. So we come back, and then Angel, baby, it's your turn. Get behind me, Angel. Put this cloak on. He said, Angel came into the season, excited to make new friends and relocate her family back to her DMV roots. But the journey from the Rockies have been kind of rocky. Angel sitting there smiling. I'll give her one thing. She always comes back trying. She really does. She started out in a pretty good mood. So we see Angel's package. We get to see Angel moving in the house, the rental with Bobby. We get to see Bobby running around with the little kids, Bobby cooking for the baby, Bobby and Angel having their date night. So that was, I liked her package. She's sitting there in her little Jessica Rabbit dress. Again, sitting, it kind of mushed her a little bit, but we get to see it standing, and it was really pretty. I think she looked good. Andy, you're just a problem. Andy doesn't like women friendships. I don't know if he's jealous or what. Let's get into the chin check of it all. So they start talking about that again, y'all. The misunderstanding between Kiana and Angel, where it was kind of back and forth, like, oh, if she said that, I'm going to have to chin check her. Where Angel was defending Wendy, something that was said, and Kiana said she's going to chin check Angel. Good morning. Welcome in, Somali Queen. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. This, as you see, the lovely ladies near me are the Real Housewives of Potomac. We are fresh into Angel's package. Andy's trying to start with her. I'm trying to help her. American Born says, I think she will get a second season, but Angel needs to come different if she does. I feel like she does, American Born. If she does want to come back, she says she don't know what she's doing yet. But if she wants to come back, I want to see her more able to defend herself. I mean, she shouldn't have to wait and see if Karen's going to help her or this one will defend her. Evidently, her and Kiana had some kind of pact where they don't really stand up for each other. But pact or not, there were different times when she was just getting piled on, and Kiana's looking there like she's kind of not knowing what to do. And then talking about the stuff in the confessional. No, we need you to bring that to the scene. Sharon Gobble says, American Born, I think she's done. Yeah, I've heard both ways. I'm not sure. I'll welcome her back if she wants it. I think Bobby's already told her, F that job, but if you want to come back, you can. I can understand that. Everybody's blowing kisses and speaking to Somali Queen. So Angel was saying that it would be a problem if she said chin check. So they had a different conversation at the store than they had at a Preakness event. So that's where they got into it. The next thing that happened was Andy brought up Giselle and that ignorant catfish comment. And that was just a trip. Angel, that kind of followed them throughout the season. It kind of took the wind out of Angel's sails, did a lot to her self-esteem, and Angel was really upset about it. So then Giselle, again, every time Angel was speaking or the camera was on her, Giselle's like blowing she did like a whole horse. I mean, just ridiculous. Giselle, I don't know what to make of you, lady. She's a long time mean girl, and she's just slid into middle-aged meanness, which is not a good look at all. So Angel was saying that she was upset about the catfish comment because everybody uses Facetune, and Andy said, yeah, everybody does use Facetune. Stacy piped up and said, I use it on my dog. So yeah, it wasn't the thing that she used Facetune. The picture does look different than Angel, but people get mad when you say it. Angel has a small baby. Angel is still breastfeeding. Obviously, she's different in her size than she was during some of her pictures, and she probably does a little more filter and face tuning than she should. So yeah, this is a trip. These comments are moving in. I'm going to try to catch them. If I don't, and you put it in again, you're welcome to. I wonder how they've been friends for 20 years. The Somali Queen, I feel the same. And they keep showing that one little picture from 2013. So maybe it was we knew each other over the time. I don't see them friends that long, especially with a pack like that. I just don't get it. I don't believe it. That green-eyed bandit is an old mean girl. She is. Disgusting behavior. I don't like to see women treat each other like that. If you're around someone that you don't care for, even if you're away together, there's no reason to pile on them or try to make them the butt of jokes or do any of that. Welcome in, Prudence. Thank you. Hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. This is the Real Housewives of Potomac. We just got into Angel's segment. So she's having to defend this chin check comment. It's well worth it, Kiwan J. A lot happens. I haven't watched it yet, but I can't wait. Angel is a gorgeous woman. She is really pretty, the Somali Queen, but I can see why she kind of feels, she seemed like she was a little insecure about certain things. Again, I think it was the baby. I think it was, she let us know that her currency had been her looks. So sometimes when that changes, you have to have another form of currency. You know, you're in a country where they don't take dollars, what you gonna do? Still keep, oh, can you take this dollar? No, we don't take dollars. Come up with something else, Angel. You got more currency. She's smart. She can pull out her SAT words and have the girls confused. There's so much more that Angel has to work with. That's another reason I want another season. I want to see what else she can bring. And she has a husband. This is what Real Housewives. We're not going to let the Ashley and Giselle's run the Real Housewives off. And Angel is a Real Housewife. Bobby said it on Watch What Happens Live. American Born is saying it. I think Giselle is a product of her upbringing. She doesn't admit to it, but I really believe that she is. I feel like, and she's from New Orleans. I think she was raised to believe those green eyes and lighter colored skin gives her some type of elevation over other women. And she wants people to prove themselves to her. That's what I see in her. Oh, y'all, then Andy reads a viewer question. Angel, basically explain that Forrest Whitaker eye and a-hole lips comment. Angel, she started to stammer a little bit, but then she stood upright. I apologize. That is not who I am. That was a very low blow. I was upset at Wendy laughing at me. And they showed the comment when she said that with her sister. Now, for me, I feel like I have sisters. I'm one of, there are 4 girls in my family. And sometimes if you were one of the sweeter natured people, I don't know if this is Angel or not, but the ones that are verbal assassins, they will get madder at the person than you are. So I think that was what was going on between Angel and the sister. The sister wasn't having it, and she made some comments about Giselle too. But Angel's trying to match her as far as insults, and then the Forrest Whitaker lip and all the Forrest Whitaker eye. And then Angel did try to clean it up and say, you do have when you have an expression where you're kind of skeptical, you do give Forrest Whitaker about the eye. I see what she's talking about, but because she's lighter skinned, she has to be real sensitive about that. People were saying that it was colorism and all kind of stuff. And then Wendy made a really good point. You get upset when people talk about your aesthetics, and then for you to talk about mine. What if I said you look like James Earl Jones? Would that be okay? Andy's sitting there talking about not James Earl Jones. Giselle was in 7th heaven, honey. She was laughing and just full of herself. Ash Top was laughing. Everybody found that kind of funny. I did too, because I love myself some James Earl Jones, okay? Angel doesn't look like James Earl Jones. Wendy doesn't look like Forrest Whitaker. She apologized to Wendy, so I think we need to move on from that. I'm going to take a couple of comments. American Born says, exactly, Sandra. Yeah, you see the whole New Orleans thing? Yeah, we see what's going on with Giselle. Another popular CC who lives in New Orleans has made commentary about the true colorism in that city and within its families. Yeah, CC, and there have been all kind of just studies on it. There is a YouTube is showing this old movie called Feast of All Saints, something like that, where they all, like Beyonce's mom, Tina, is New Orleans. They call themselves Creole, try to be a whole other race, almost, because they don't want to be with darker skinned people and change. It changes the whole look of your bloodline. Look at Giselle's beautiful daughters. I think the father might be kind of upset that He loved the granddaughters, but again, that whole thing with the will, how do we know he didn't write them down? I don't know. And Giselle has her type, honey. She loves them dark, bald, and semi-handsome, schmandsome. Because nobody's fine over there. I think she want to be the finest one in her house. I think I know who you're talking about, CC. Oh, wow, that makes sense at CC. Yeah, I agree with Angel. The Somali queen, I do too. So Angel did apologize to Wendy. She said it was a low blow. That is not her. She doesn't want to do that. Wendy was bringing up a point. Wendy wanted it to be known. She said, so you admit the fact that also with the catfish comment, you actually gave me more smoke than you did Giselle, and she was the one that said it. Angel was saying in the moment so much was going on, and all ringing in her ears was Wendy laughing, and Giselle was saying, yeah, I said it. Giselle always admitted that she did say, Angel, the production showed us, I didn't not know that was you. Very inarticulately trying to make fun of somebody. Angel, if you had been ready, you should have read Giselle down, especially when they started cackling. Y'all in the corner laughing right next to Wendy, Miss Stacy. We love you, but you were laughing too. Stacy got her best life too. But I think what really changed it for me was how upset Angel was. And then Giselle brought that up. We squashed it. We had a good conversation. I apologize, which Giselle usually doesn't apologize, but she came to Angel's room. Angel cried over it. She apologized multiple times. It should have been squashed, but Angel was right when she says it continued. And then Giselle says, you brought it up throughout the season. That was not true. Angel said it kept being brought up throughout the season. And production showed us where Ashley brought catfish to the Popeyes chicken event, and Wendy is saying Ashley brought the catfish. So Wendy, we're not going to let you act innocent either. And Angel was saying, you knew how much it hurt me and you continued the joke. So when someone tells you that something is a sore spot for them, if you're a close friend, you would know not to continue. But in a work situation, you can continue picking at someone like that and not have somebody come see you about it, HR or somebody. So I don't know how they got away with that. She squints. That is the Forrest Whitaker about the eye that she was referring to. It had nothing to do with their skin color. Now, is there any colorism? Yes, absolutely. Since the beginning of this show. Now, Giselle and Robin claim they're not, even though they're both 60% white woman. That's what 23andMe said. I didn't say it. Somebody had their numbers done and they were 60% white woman. I think it was Rob the Throb Dixon. American Born says, I think the wife changed the will and no one can convince me otherwise. It wouldn't shock me, American Born. She was caring for him in the last years of his life, and he, rest in peace to him. He had some type of, I know it was a brain tumor or something that escalated quickly, even though he was an older man. American, I think that was a genuine will, because I would leave Green Eye Bandit out my will too with her black heart. The Somali queen, I can see that, but the three granddaughters, they're very close to Giselle's mother, and also they were very close to their grandfather. That is the part that gave me pause. So I see why people think what American Born did. Well, once Wendy switched sides, they all followed Giselle now. That's what I can't stand, American Born. And then another thing, when they were showing old packages of Wendy through the years, Wendy just standing up, defending herself, verbally laying down everybody. She liked to call Candace rat-a-tat-tat. Wendy is rat-a-tat-tat. When Dr. Wendy would get live on Karen, Giselle, Robin, all of them kind of still have a, maybe not a hatred, but a dislike toward Wendy because of that. She's humiliated them over the years, and we've seen it. I've also noticed that American sororities don't hold each other accountable. The Somali queen, that's true. It is a sisterhood. I mean, they look at each other like family. I never pledged. I didn't have time. I always had 2 to 3 jobs, okay? But that was the other part of it I didn't like. I have real sisters, and they don't always take up for me like that. You can say when your sister is wrong. But yeah, it's very cliquish, especially with a personality type like Giselle. I disagree, but maybe after that stunt she pulled with bringing past the Holy 304, maybe he did. Oh, that was true. Thank you for bringing that up. He was furious when they caught that man on a hot mic. I need to find that hot mic moment. That man said he got like 6 or 7 baby mamas and all of this. And Giselle was trying to convince us that she wanted the man back and that they were indeed back together. And the 3 daughters did not want him back. They didn't. Cece says, Smiley Queen, that's so true. I'm surrounded by sores in my family and see their machinations with their sisters. I just shake my head. Yeah, if someone is a real sister that loves you like that, if you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and they would fix your crown. They really would. They wouldn't tell you, yeah, go ahead, girl. I agree with you 100%. I don't want that kind of sisterhood or friend. My sisters will check me in a minute. They'll do it in a gentle way or a certain way. Or if they have to be more strong about it, they'll do that. And I accept it even if I get mad. But that storyline fell flat. It did. We don't like Jamal Bryant enough to see him on our screens. Okay. I'm not even over there at that podcast every week. He had Fonnie Willis on there. I'm going to go watch her. I watched The Three Daughters, but I don't care for Jamal like that. And he didn't come on the screen. He was the man in the phone. Karen said, is Jamal coming? No, he's not. So then we see Wendy telling that lie about Angel trying to rent a $14,000 property for $1,000. Angel jumping up. Aha! Angel's so funny. She had the 10-gallon hat on in that denim suit. Aha! But when they showed that, they show Ashley, and Ashley is just smirking. Y'all know Wendy lied on this girl about that. Y'all know. I don't know why you are laughing hysterically, Ash Top. Where do you live? So then they are back and forth talking about the Colorado trip. Oh, and then Andy says, well, where do you live now? She says, well, she and Bobby have purchased a home in the DMV. They are using the same designer, the award-winning designer, Architectural Digest designer that they use for their Denver home in the Potomac. Ash Top saying, is it 30 acres? None of your business. This is not your friend. This is your coworker. And Andy's asking questions. Angel says, it's not 30 acres, but if you lived in Potomac, you would know. Who's going to get 30 acres in Potomac unless they're Sheila Johnson and you putting up a spa or something? 30 acres, Ashley, you sound stupid. Ashley said, I could live in Potomac. I chose not to. No, I don't think so. Unless you and Sheila be back under the bridge. I don't buy it. So Tia, for some reason, starts clapping. I guess Tia and Angel are okay now. Tia's glad that Angel's moving back to the Potomac. And also Kiana. Kiana was happy about it. So Andy asked about the move. Giselle blows like a horse again. Giselle, stop doing that. A lot of things Giselle might have done in her youth that people laughed at or thought was cute, it doesn't really come across the same when we're in our 50s, girl. Let's not do that. That's a little bit silly. Okay, I'll go back and read some of the comments. American Born says, me and my sister check each other all the time. Yeah, you have to. If the person really loves you, they will, unless you're going to be out here looking crazy or get yourself into some real trouble. That reunion will go down in history. And we hadn't even seen Binder Monique yet. Monique said, I'm a Binder B, and had Giselle fake smiling about it. Oh, we getting along now. No, you're not, Giselle. You're just scared of this lady because you don't know what she could do, but you know what she's capable of. I don't care for Monique, but anytime Monique wants to come on the screen with something like that, I welcome her. But we didn't get to see that much of that award-winning home. We didn't. I wish we had. They spent most of the time in the car, American Born. The GMC truck, I'll never forget that. Sharon's laughing. The GMC truck, poor Angel trying to drive. American Born, you love Tia? I'm on the side of the fence now. I don't care for Tia. What was that about accents? Didn't make sense. They were arguing about accents. Tia was telling Stacy that you married up and that Stacy uses some type of accent that's unrecognizable in colloquialism. What she's trying to say was Stacy sometimes talk ghetto when nobody's around or when nobody's listening. So Tia seems to feel like her British accent elevates her. She's got that Nigerian British thing going on. I have to be really careful here. Some of them feel like proximity to whiteness and speaking and acting a certain way makes them better than other people. And I don't really like that. That's another reason why I didn't like Stacy when she introduced TMO to Tia. She said, oh, she's special. What's special about her that she's speaking like this? And then also Stacy's like, your husband you've been married to him for years and he's from Chicago and you still pretending that you're talking like this. I think that is Tia's real accent, but I think she also plays it up. That's just my opinion. 100% Somali Queen. Yeah, so that's just my opinion. Monique is coming with the receipts next week. Yeah, I feel like against Stacy, but I don't know what she's supposed to be proving, American Born. I will say this about Monique. I think that Ash Top and Giselle brought Monique back to kind of almost fight Stacy. They feel like she hasn't really changed. And they think they can provoke her into something, which is why they lied on what the relationship is between Chris and Stacy. And I think other people got mad because I believe Cookie is the one that wants Chris. And I'm not convinced that Cookie and Chris haven't had something, but it will always be behind the scenes or in the house. He's not putting Cookie on his arm and parading around the DMV. He's just not doing it. I don't care. Tia is British. Yeah, I mean, she likes to play up the Nigerian, but oh, this is a part about Tia came from royalty in Nigeria, didn't she? American born, that's what she says, but evidently the father squandered the money sometime before high school years or even younger than that. And then royalty, okay, you walking around here talking about you royal, and then we actually met another sister. So the father said he had outside children. So y'all, there's a lot going on with that. I was annoyed with Tia during this reunion. I feel like she jumped in when it really wasn't her package. And some of the stuff she was adding didn't really make a lot of sense. So it came up as far as what is Tia and Angel's relationship. And Wendy wants to know, you didn't have smoke for Tia, and Tia was the one that told, remember, but Wendy, now in all fairness, Tia didn't tell a lie. Angel was moving like quick and in a hurry. Giselle is the one that turned that into a lie and started an eviction thing, which is eviction is not the same as your lease being up. So they got into that a little bit, and Tia and Angel are okay. Angel saying we talked. So that's why I've forgiven Tia. Tia had no business running to Giselle and saying anything about the situation. That was my place if I wanted to tell her. So we remember all of that happened during the season. This was all a part of Angel's package. Angel got a pretty long package too, y'all. But when she would try to kind of explain and give a little more insight to it, Andy would want to move on to the next point. Now, we do know that my girl Angel is long-winded. So it could have been just that. But I do also feel like maybe he doesn't really care for her that much. Somali Queen is bringing up a point. Stacy telling Tia she's reporting to her master was beyond disgusting with the painful history Black people have endured worldwide. The Somali Queen, I didn't mind her doing that. It was kind of a low blow, but I could understand why she wanted to back Tia up, because Tia was doing a lot. And Tia, as soon as she got in the driveway with Angel, she did the same thing. She called Giselle. So yeah, I could understand Stacy doing that, but I do see your side of it as well. Don't know if Tia's putting 10 on 20 about her family's Nigerian roots. I don't know, 20 on 10, and she's putting too much. I don't know. That's what they're saying. I think there was some money somewhere. I do. But what happened to it? That language isn't just wrong. It's deeply disrespectful and triggering. Some things never be said, period. Yeah, I can agree with that. In the name of shade, Somali Queen, you know, they'll say almost anything. I didn't like that comment either, Somali Queen. American Boy, you didn't care for it either. I feel like in the name of defending yourself, there's very little that's not allowed. Now, some of it is a little too far. I'll tell you too far. Married to Medicine, when they start talking about fertility and things like that, I don't care for that at all. I think it's wrong. Cookie wants Chris, but he'll never admit to anything happening between them. Agreed. I have to agree. America, she moved from the UK to the US. Yes, Tia should be a lot more, Americanized by now. And then she did, well, that was part of the thing. She said her accent varies. She's raising American children. She is, honey. Those teen girls, they're fully Americanized. I think she's in love with him the way she acts. Cookie is in love with him. She wanted to fight Stacy too. As far as Stacy pointing her finger and Cookie getting so undone, you got to be escorted out. And then Giselle laughing over it, that was too much. Tia didn't lie about her roots. You don't think so? Somali Queen, you like Tia? American Born and Somali Queen. Yeah, Tia needs some defense because I don't care for her. And I feel she did a lot during this reunion. Didn't they move to Britain from Nigeria? Yeah, I feel like she said she was born there, and then, she was born in Nigeria, and then in her early years, she moved to England because she said they lived where like Boy George and people like that lived. So there was money in the family. No, I've never heard anyone on Bravo say master before. No, even Nene said, go back and report to your boss, but she didn't say master. So that's true. Okay, so we are almost getting to the end. Bobby gets a viewer compliment as the hottest husband. Y'all, Angel was just smiling. Thank you for the compliment. Some of the other ladies are laughing except for Ash Top and Giselle, who are looking stank and upset. Michael was never in the running, baby, so you can fix your face, Ash Top. I don't know why you're upset. So Wendy, of course, she got to big up Eddie. I'm married to my chocolate. I love my sexy chocolate. And here's Stacy. I love white chocolate. Stacy, you are so corny. And then Wendy asked Andy, well, what do you like, Andy? Andy says the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Andy, it's the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And we heard this about you. We heard you like a young black man. That's what we heard. Y'all, somebody that is known to a lot of us lied on Andy Cohen and said that they had a thing, or he implied it. The person implied it, okay? And it turned out not to be true. Andy didn't know that man, but he kept it going a little while, did interviews and everything on it. So then, they talked about Kiana, Angel, the 20-year supposed friendship. I think I went over that already. And Angel did, it looks like her and Wendy's kind of energy was changing a little bit toward each other once she did apologize to Wendy. Now, Kiana, this was strange to me, y'all. Kiana kept kind of cutting Angel off when she was trying to speak. And Wendy said, go ahead. I wanted to hear what you were saying. Angel was like, well, no, let her finish and then I'll get back to it. And Kiana was like, well, I'm speaking now. And Wendy said, well, she was finishing her point. Kiana says, well, I'm speaking now. Wendy murmured to Giselle, that is a strange relationship. She acts like she owns her. Y'all, I've noticed that about Kiana. Sometimes she tries to like put Angel in a place like, I was here first, so let me, kind of like she brought her on. You did bring her on, but you only had a year under your belt before Angel got here. So I don't like that dynamic. And Angel, I think you need to check that. I don't care for it. Angel must make his men sign NDAs. Yeah, something, because we hadn't heard a peep. But American born, that doesn't mean it's not true. It just means they can't talk about it. Okay, so Giselle is sitting there looking stink. Giselle, you kind of faded into the couch on this one. So this was Angel's segment. Wendy and Angel, I think they're okay now. Tia and Angel are okay. They had put the so-called catfish picture up. It did look heavily filtered or whatever else was done about it. And then they kind of finished that. And she says she felt like, Giselle, you continue to talk about it the rest of the season. We talked about that part. Angel says, no, it continued to be brought up the rest of the season. I brought up Wendy bringing up Ashley brought catfish. This was to the Popeyes chicken event. And Ashley continually made jokes about it. Angel says, I felt you were trying to haze me. I felt it was incredibly cruel for you guys to keep bringing that up when you knew how hurt I was over the comment. Giselle lies. It wasn't deep. Now, Giselle, when you hurt someone and they've told you that, you can't tell them whether or not it's deep. It's deep for her. So you don't know what it is about Angel that triggered this deep hurt in her. Or it could be she's postpartum, could be her breastfeeding, could be the hormones. We don't know, but she didn't like it. And you continued, you persisted throughout the season. So I don't care for Giselle anyway, but this really bothered me. And Ash Top has the nerve to sit there going, you should laugh more. Actually, if you make a funny joke, we'll laugh. Okay. And Angel told her that wasn't funny, that it wasn't funny. So we get to see Wendy. Wendy is saying, well, you came into the group and you wanted Giselle to kind of act as a big sis. Wendy, you too. So don't just put that on Angel. I think that's any of them. They know that production really likes Giselle. If she's not a fan favorite, she did start out and is probably one of the faces of Potomac, her and Karen. So that's just is what it is. Kind of like Kyle and Beverly Hills. Whether you like the person or not, you need to be in a safe space with them. Angel can stay, but Kiana need to go. I'm going to keep saying this Kiana energy for Wendy is for Karen. Something's going on, KYJ. I don't know why she's so angry. So there ended up being a viewer question. The viewers call them madness and sadness. Y'all, Giselle was cackling over that. Angel says, I think that we have beautiful spirits and personalities. Now, Angel, I don't know. Madness and sadness. So Kiana started saying, well, no, what I had going on with Wendy during the beginning of the season, they kind of squashed it or whatever. Y'all, this was a mess. Thank you, Mama Bees. Please press the like button, share, keep the channel in the algorithm. Thank you. So pretty much they go back and forth over the same thing. So this is the very end, y'all. Dr. Wendy, Ashley is telling Dr. Wendy that, Wendy, when you entered into the group, you seemed to feel like you were better than people. And production did show us Wendy saying, that's Dr. Wendy to you, sweetie. I've got 4 degrees. Ash Top is really upset about that. Dr. Wendy clarifies, and I believe correctly. She said, how you view me has everything to do with yourself. It doesn't have anything to do with me. And that's when Ashley brought up the statement, I would never vilify my accomplishments. Ashop is a big dummy. You don't vilify your accomplishments, you elevate your accomplishments, okay? So you can't vilify your own accomplishments because it doesn't make sense. Wendy says, because you don't have any. And Ashley gets triggered. Bullish, B. Bullish, B. And then Wendy, after she says, because you don't have any, Ashley goes to the gutter and says, I only have one social security number. And everybody said, ooh. Now, Wendy, this is the part where somebody would insert, whoop, 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 because Ashley did get her with that, y'all. One social security number. Now, that's not a flex, Ashley. You're only supposed to have one social security number. You can open a business or something and get tax IDs, but that's not an accomplishment. But we'll give it to her as acceptable shades. It's not below the belt or anything. She knocked Dr. Wendy all the way down with that one. That was the end of the episode, y'all. I'm sorry this episode the review went long because I have Married to Medicine after this. So I'll reschedule the time and then I'll be back for that. If you can join me, thank you so much. If you cannot, I hope your team replay. If you're subscribed, I appreciate your subscription. And if you're not subscribed, team replay. Also look for the hype feature. You can only get 3 a week. So please save them for the smaller growing channels like myself. And I appreciate it. Those of you that joined on this live, I thank you so much. And I will see you in the YouTube streets, actually within the next few minutes after I reschedule. Thank you, American Born. Thank you. This was great. Thank you. CC is saying replay game. Like the video, comment, and hype. Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you for that, Sharon. I give the episode an 8. I gave it a 7, but I forgot that Karen and Monique were not going to be there. So that's why they got a low score from me. But the 8 probably is more fair. Have a blessed week, everyone. Yes, enjoy the rest of your days off if you are off. And those of you that can come back, I will see you in a few minutes, okay? This is going to be Married to Medicine after this. Goodbye, y'all.
I don't think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good. That I